Hey guys, welcome back to Built in America. I'm your host, Jeff Vreeland. This show is about men and women who are actually building businesses in America today, not chasing profits, but trying to do it with conviction, integrity, and responsibility. Each episode, I sit down with founders, operators, and leaders who believe business is more than transactions. It's influence, it's stewardship, and it's one of the most powerful ways values show up in real life. We're here to talk about the marketplace, what's changing, what's working, what's not working, and what it really takes to serve customers who care about what they buy, and more importantly, who they buy it from. These are honest conversations with the people doing the work, learning in real time how to build, lead, and grow in a super complicated world. I'm super excited, though, to have Jeff Patty, who's the co-owner of Soak Street, where his work sits right in the intersection of what we just talked about, building a business and staying grounded in his values. Jeff, thanks so much for being here. Can you tell me a little bit about Soak Street?
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. So we are a natural soap company, but we're a little bit unique. We're also a traditional soap. So what we focused on is we went back pre the turn of the 20th century to before Procter & Gamble started putting in some oils that were a little bit cheaper, palm oils, other things, and before the Great Depression, where they started putting synthetic detergents into your soap. So we went back to the kinds of soap that they were using back at early America. Really, really neat, natural, great stuff that our founders did. And the reason we're doing it is for two reasons. One, with all the tech that's changing, everything that's happening right now, this allows us to have a way to connect to a little bit of a simpler time. So that's one of our big mottos. But two, it's a superior product. It's a fantastic product. So it's something we love.
That's awesome, man. I'm loving it. Earlier times, everybody wants to go back to that. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's jump into our 5 questions that we ask every show. First one is, how does your business help people live out the values when they spend their money?
Yeah, one word is freedom. You know, when you go to the store, you have you have plenty of options. You have lots of things up on the counter or up on the shelving that you can pick from, or if you're online, you have lots of options. But you know, I was an attorney by trade before I got into this, and not everything. When you purchase from a company, for example, that company is like a person, and it has a message, it has a thing that it's going to tell, and not every business is necessarily after the same values that you share, that your family shares. And so in the same way, if even back in the day, if you had two markets that were standing side by side, and one was not going to be standing for what you believe in, you don't have to go and use that marketplace. And so when you're building a business, you're creating opportunity for people to have that kind of freedom to go and choose from. And I think that's really valuable for those that are looking to start this. We need it in all sorts of spaces, whether it's in cosmetics and healthcare, or whether it's in auto manufacturing or whatever. We need it across the board.
I could not agree more. Could not agree more. All right, question 2. What does building and growing your business in America mean to you personally?
Yeah, so this is great because it's a number of things. On a very personal level, it's opportunity. So
Yep.
what I want to build is not just a job. I want to build a business, and the difference in that sense is something that I can pass down to my kids. The second thing is it allows for me to participate in a way, again, with what my forefathers did, which is some risk taking. There's a way to play it safe, and there's different things that we're called to by the Lord, and what our life's supposed to look like. But going out there and taking a chance on a business is that it's a risk, and allows me to go out and try to participate in that way. I think about our forefathers who conquered, went out and conquered the West and hacked a living. We're based out of Colorado. And so there's a lot of folks who came here and there wasn't much here and they had to build their living and there wasn't a lot of guarantees. And when you go and build a business, you've taken on that mantle of that kind of risk taking, and it's something to be really proud of. And it doesn't always work, but that doesn't mean you weren't someone who had the courage to go and step out. And like I said before, with the first question, with all the things we need in this country to have people where we have opportunity to go and purchase from, we need individuals who are willing to go out there and take those risks to provide it for us. I want to be able to go to the store and find someone who's offering something that shares my values, not just the price point, not just the value in the product, but also in the messaging that they're going to put behind the product. And we need folks willing to go do that.
I love it, man. Great answer. Great answer. All right, question 3. How have you seen your customers change in the last few years, or especially those that are conservative or faith-minded?
Yeah, so you've probably heard this quite a bit, but the biggest key is awareness.
Yep.
For a long time, what it's been is you were looking for a value proposition, which is important. None of that should be taken away, but a value proposition specifically in the product itself. Is this a fine product at a great price? Then that transitioned into, okay, it has maybe a more competitive price, but is it really a good value as a product itself? Is this really the best soap if it's our world? Which we think we offer a better value now. Then you transition into, yeah, but even if they're offering a good price and a good valuable product, are they still offering, what are they doing with the money I give? Because where we give our money is where we give our influence. And what are they doing with that influence that I'm giving to them? And is it ultimately going to come back to undermine me in a different way in the future? And so all of those things become part of the product mix. And it's all part of what we're trying to pitch and sell is say, look, you don't have to go out and purchase from someone that's necessarily going to be contrary to what you believe. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think that's it's very, very important. Awareness is definitely up among all demographics for sure. So,
Yeah.
all right. Question number 4: what values guide the way you lead your team and serve your customers?
Yeah, this is a great question. So I worked at a big S&P 500 company before starting this, and a lot of the same words are thrown around. You want integrity.
Yep.
You want customer experience to be excellent. You want excellence, right? You want service. We have the same mantra. Those are the things we want. The difference is we want them to be real. We really actually want these things. And so to preach that, these are the values underneath that come from things like the Great Commandment. You want to treat others like you want to be treated. These sorts of things are what drive. And to do that both for your employees as well as for your customers, it's fundamental. In Scripture, you talk about the verses that say, "Don't have the weights that are where you're effectively cheating someone." Don't have these weights where you're cheating someone. It's the same thing. Just because you might be able to get ahead, no, you should be the type of person that's going to be honest and have integrity, and not just speak about it and not just use them as buzzwords, but actually mean it.
Yeah, as a retired Fortune 100 employee, I get everything you're saying there. And I think the audience will too, for sure. All right, on to question 5, last one, my favorite one. What's one piece of advice that you would give other business owners trying to reach values-driven Americans?
That's actually hard because there's a lot of hurdles, as any business owner knows, as you're going through. There's quite a bit of things. I think for one of the chief goals we've had, and one piece of advice I'd give is do be mindful of who you're partnering with. I think this is going to be really critical. There are different ways to be very successful, and some of them can even be quickly, but you may end up selling a large part of control of your business in a way that you can't actually maintain the things we were just talking about. So you may lose the ability to hold on to the control that is necessary to continue to have that voice into the marketplace, which is great. You start a business, it gets the reputation that it deserves because you went out value driven. And then a few years later, it's no longer that same thing. And that's really sad. And so be very mindful as you're growing. Both, you have to take risks. You have to be able to partner with people. We're not supposed to live on an island. Grow and be successful. In fact, be wildly successful. So we have the influence we need to continue to share our values. But be mindful that you're not also going to take a step that leads you in a way that you've lost that message and lost that ability to both treat your customers right, treat your employees right. I mean, when you're building a business, it's like a great tree that can provide stuff for everybody. And if you're not careful, before long, you realize that tree isn't providing what you once thought it was. So
yeah, it's a great answer. Great answer. Okay, bonus question. I only ask this every so often, but bonus question here. If I checked your Amazon history, which is this question came from my friend Jordan Rayner, by the way. If we check your Amazon history, what is one book we would see you purchasing or gifting the most?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer this a couple ways. One,
Okay.
if it was, so I'm a little younger. If it was Amazon, you would see Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield.
Okay,
would
good
be
book.
the book that I would go. But it probably wouldn't be a book that you would see me sharing with people the most. What
Okay.
you would see me sharing the most would be two things, and it would be links. It would be a link to C.S. Lewis's article, Man or Rabbit.
Yep.
Phenomenal article. If you haven't read it, you need to go check that article. It'll take you 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It's amazing. He was asked about what is it enough to be good to get to heaven? Phenomenal article. And the second would be a poem by Rudyard Kipling.
Okay.
Which is
I'm not familiar with it.
You need to read If, especially if you're a business owner.
Yeah.
Read If. It's going to be something that will encourage you on a daily basis to continue to press on for both what's right and to take the steps and the courage necessary to press through.
Awesome, man. I'm going to check those out. Well, Jeff, thanks so much, buddy, for being here. We appreciate the time and everything that you're doing.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate what you guys are doing and getting the voice out. And for all the business owners and those that are aspiring, just be encouraged. We've got a lot of work to do, but we can don't look at this as a short-term thing. We got a long play here, but we got a lot of work to do and we can get it done.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, guys, that's a wrap on our show today. Thanks, Jeff, for being here again. I hope today's conversation encouraged you and reminded you that building a business in this country is way more than about profits. It's about values, people, and as Jeff just said, long-term impact. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to our weekly Liberty Spenders podcast, which is right here on YouTube. We go deeper into how Americans are choosing to live out their values where and how they spend their money. And if you're a business owner, a leader, or even a brand that wants to better understand how to serve these value-driven Americans, head over to libertyspenders.com. You learn more about our platform, book a meeting with myself or anybody on the team. And finally, if you or maybe someone you know would be a great guest here on Built in America, head over to builtinamericapodcast.com. You can learn more about the show and apply to be a guest. But thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting American built businesses, and we'll see you next time on Built in America.